Yo, what up, Dumb Mafia? Welcome to another edition of the Dumb Mafia Report. And in today's episode, we are going to be discussing things that the Buffalo Bills seriously need to change. And it's starting right now. Well, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. It has been a very difficult time in Buffalo sports, especially for the past couple of days. I believe the Buffalo Sabres dropped their fifth straight. And as we all clearly remember, the Buffalo Bills dropped their third loss of the season against the Cleveland Browns. It's funny because this morning I was having dental work done. It was a very painful experience. And I would still rather go through that 30 times than have to sit through a game like I just did this past Sunday. Now, don't get me wrong. During the offseason, when I first saw our schedule, I did have the matchup against the Cleveland Browns as a loss, while I ultimately ended up predicting the Buffalo Bills to go 11-5 or 10-6. Now, maybe it had to do with the fact that I was super high on the Bills for having such a hot start, and maybe due to the fact that the Browns were just absolutely terrible so far during the beginning of the season. Regardless, I was still super pissed off. We had so many missed opportunities, questionable play calls, and it definitely didn't help when the refs reversed that Jerry Hughes touchdown that would have ultimately made the Buffalo Bills 7-2. Regardless, we need to face the facts. And the facts are the Buffalo Bills are 6-3, and the path to the playoffs is not as clear as it once was. Luckily for us, these next couple of games, these next couple of matchups are very winnable. But there are a couple of things that the Buffalo Bills need to improve on immediately. And I just so happened to compile a couple of things that I thought that we should talk about. But make sure that you stay tuned to the end of this video because I am actually giving away 2 tickets to the Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens on December 8th at 1 p.m. If you want to enter the contest, make sure you watch this entire video and listen how to enter. And without further ado, let's dive into some of these much needed improvements. Now, when it comes to our defense, there's not many weaknesses. Besides the inability to stop the run and then Levi Wallace. Now, don't get me wrong. During the beginning of the season, Levi Wallace really impressed me. He was shutting down those number 2 receivers, and they really weren't getting a lot of traction against him. Unfortunately, the past 2 or 3 weeks, he has been exposed, especially against Jarvis Landry this past Sunday. Now, maybe it has to do with the fact that Trey White is just so good. Whoever lines up on his opposite side is automatically going to look like shit. Like, let's be real. When it comes to Trey White, he was a first-round draft pick, and in my opinion, he is one of the best corners in the league. Maybe top 3. Maybe even top 2. And then you compare that to Levi Wallace, who is an undrafted free agent. So maybe he's not getting the fair criticism that we should be giving him. It comes down to one simple facet of our defense that Levi Wallace struggles in, and that is man-to-man coverage. Now, when it goes into zone coverage, Levi Wallace is probably one of the best backs in the game when it comes down to this. But man-to-man, he has seriously been struggling, which is a scheme that has been heavily used by the Bills for the past couple of weeks. Now, maybe this last week was a fluke just because the Cleveland Browns have a very rare scenario where they have 2 number 1 receivers in OBJ and Jarvis Landry. 9 times out of 10, we're going to be putting Levi against their number 2 receiver, somebody that can make some plays, but really isn't that electric player that's going to hurt you. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to a quick fix, something that I think that the Buffalo defense should really consider is moving Levi Wallace to slot corner and moving Kevin Johnson right over to the outside. I think that would end up solving a lot of our issues because that way Levi can still be effective, but he's not going to have as much surface area to be responsible for. And you give those responsibilities over to Kevin Johnson, who has proven to be a very efficient cornerback within the NFL. Say that the Buffalo Bills want to fill in that void that they have seen in their secondary, which is, there's very few holes within the secondary, but say that they want to tighten this up and make this truly the best secondary in the entire league, then I think that switch would be nothing but beneficial. Run the ball. If there was anything that gave me an aneurysm this past Sunday, it was the lack of rushing attempts. We only rushed the ball a total of 13 times.
13.
And it blows my mind too, especially when you're coming off of a game where Devin Singletary goes off. Rushes for over 100 yards, a touchdown, and is rattling off close to 7.2 yards per carry. And then you end up going against a Browns defense who has an even worse rush defense than the Buffalo Bills, and you just say, nah.
I think we're going to go back to the pass game.
Now, I will give the Bills the benefit of the doubt because we did defer the coin toss over to the Browns, and they just so happened to march down the field and score immediately. Really shouldn't be running the ball when you're down, so maybe I will give them that. Plus, right according to Brian Dable, the Browns stacked the box the entire game, and there really weren't a lot of opportunities to run. But at the same time, there's really not many defenses in the NFL that I know that can stop Devin Singletary from gaining 3 to 4 yards per carry. So that's my question right then and there. Down the road, we need to favor the run game. Not only because when it comes to statistics, when the Buffalo Bills win football games, there's one common statistic. We run the ball more than we go to the air. Plus, it is a fantastic thing for Josh's development. You look at Josh Allen, and the one way that I personally think that the Bills should be developing Josh Allen is taking a page out of the Pittsburgh Steelers book when they were developing Ben Roethlisberger. His first 2 years in the NFL, he was a part of an offense that ran the ball on a consistent basis and made Ben a game manager, if you will. He really made him a game manager, if you will. And then they slowly let him take more and more responsibilities as the season progressed. That's exactly what we need to be doing with Josh Allen right now. So why are we not running the ball? I have no earthly idea. Putting this offense on Devin Singletary's shoulders is the number one thing that we need to do if we have any hope of going 10-6 or better. Feed Singletary the ball now. Now, I'm sure that everyone knows that I am a diehard Josh Allen fan. Huge fan. But the guy needs to make better decisions. And I feel bad for saying this too, because it's nowhere near 100% his fault is lacking such electricity this year. And I know that he's not going through his progressions efficiently, but a lot of that has to do with that one weak side of our offensive line, which has been screwing us since week 1. And so I know a lot of us were looking at that one specific play when it was in the fourth quarter, when it was 3-4, and Josh Allen dropped back, and then he attempted to feed the ball to John Brown, which would have been a 15 to 20 yard gain, gave Stephen Hauschka great field position. But the biggest criticism was Cole Beasley was wide open off to the top right of the screen. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is 100% true, Cole Beasley was wide open. But the thing you need to look at is, for those of you who didn't play football, when it comes to play calling, there is always a number one target. There is a number one target that you need to be looking for your first progression. Let's just call it that. John Brown was clearly that guy. Now, say that Josh were to have time to make his progressions, then there is no doubt in my mind that he would have fed the ball to Cole Beasley to get that easy first down, run up to the line of scrimmage, spike the ball, and then give Hauschka a much easier kick. The problem was that the left side of his O-line crumbled almost a millisecond after the snap. So Josh didn't even have a chance to turn his head and see that Cole Beasley was wide open because he saw some big defensemen bum rushing him a millisecond after the ball was snapped. So right at the end of the day, what Josh was trying to do was throw the ball up and make John Brown make the play, which is not completely out of the ordinary because John Brown is known for making plays. Put the ball into your playmaker's hands, and unfortunately John Brown just wasn't able to come up with it. Now, this exact play has been a carbon copy of several other plays that have caused so much criticism for Josh Allen so far this year. And one thing I will reiterate, this is not 100% Josh Allen's fault. As long as he has more time with his progressions, he is going to just be fine. The real problem is the play calling. Which brings me to the number one issue. Now, this guy almost made me pull my hair out this past Sunday. I'm sure you know who he is. He's the guy that calls a deep ball on 3 and 4. He's the guy that has Josh Allen on such a tight leash that he's hampering his development of our franchise quarterback. Now, I mean, there were calls after calls that left Bills fans scratching their heads, and for a very good reason. And we've already touched on the fact that he refuses to run the ball when it's so clear that our team is so efficient once we hit the ground, and we have a better chance of winning when you feed Devin Singletary and Frank Gore. But he's also the same guy that is trying so hard to make Josh Allen what he is not. When it comes to our quarterback, Josh Allen, he is a lot like Cam Newton. A big, athletic gunslinger who lets his athletes and playmakers make plays for him. Now, don't get me wrong. Those interceptions during the beginning of the season were not something that a lot of us had to see. But once you take that side away from Josh Allen, you are also taking away what makes him so great. What made him so exciting to watch last year, his electricity. So this time last year, he wasn't afraid to take chances and let his playmakers make the play. And since Brian Daboll has put him on such a tight-ass leash, his X factor is completely gone. He has turned a very promising athlete in the NFL, and he has turned him into Tyrod Taylor 2.0, being a game manager. Yeah, that's great. No interceptions in the past 5 games, but we lost to the Browns. You're sitting there holding the guy's hand, and you're taking away the one thing that makes Josh Allen so dangerous. I know that Josh Allen is our guy, but it's Brian Daboll who is not using him appropriately. He's not doing himself any favors, let's be honest with you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be that guy that says that we need to fire Brian Daboll. That would just be idiotic. There's no team on the face of the planet that is going to completely revamp their offense when they have a winning record and they're sitting at the 5th seed in the AFC playoff picture. That simply would not be a smart decision. But there are a couple of things that I think that he could do that could make our team a bit more competitive by putting up 28 points a game. That's legitimately all we need. The only thing the Buffalo Bills need is to put up 28 points a game, and we will win any game that we play. Any game that we play. Because our defense is proven. Our defense is proven that they can keep us in the game. 110%. Giving up 19 points against the Browns, that's amazing. If we had a better play caller right at our helm, and were to make some better plays moving forward, then we would have won that game. Any other offense in the NFL, about 60% of the NFL offenses out there would have won that game if you were to hold your opponent to 19 points. So it's not our playmakers, it's not Josh Allen, it is 110% to our play calling. And those are a couple of other things that we need to discuss. Now, last but not least, I suppose we could talk about Hauschka, but I really don't foresee that being his issue. We really haven't given him a lot of opportunities. I mean, kicking a 50-plus yard field goal is very difficult. And I mean, we just need to go on ahead and we just need to march down the field and just get 6 and just make Hauschka's life a lot easier, because I still believe he's reliable. But I mean, we just need to make a mental note and then not let our kicker make those type of mistakes moving forward after that. There are definitely a lot of things that the Buffalo Bills need to improve on while we go through the season. Now, I'm not going to be that guy that says we're not going to make the playoffs. We are, guys. We really, really are. We have a very winnable schedule moving forward. We just need to take care of business to the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Jets. And then we all know our Buffalo Bills, guys. We all know our Buffalo Bills. We are due for at least one shocking win per year. Last year against the Vikings, come on. We're still due for one of those. And I guarantee you that's going to happen during either the Cowboys, Ravens, or Patriots game. One of those 3. So, I mean, I still have that confidence, but that doesn't mean that there's things that we need to fix. And that's something that I will stand here and look you in the eye and believe it. Now it's time for the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. I am giving away 2 tickets to the Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens on December 8th. In order to enter, you need to do a couple of things. Number one, you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's that big red button. Click that shit right until it says subscribed. Number two, you need to follow me on Twitter and then screenshot on your iPhone you being subscribed to my YouTube channel and tweet me at #RealDanMitchell, #DonMafiaGiveaway. Soon as when you do that, you are going to be entered into the giveaway, and I am going to be announcing a winner on Black Friday, the day after the Cowboys game. Hopefully, I'm in a good mood during that giveaway. Let's put it that way. But that's exactly how you enter into my ticket giveaway, so don't be late. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report, and above all else, let's go Buffalo.